Well, I hadn't heard any
you know,
reviews.
that being said, if you went in there with high expectations, you may be disappointed. I don't know.
Right. Rampage apparently is coming out. One based off of the video game.
Yeah, with The Rock.
Yeah.
I loved that game as a kid.
It's a great arcade game. Ready Player One. Oh, and
I don't know how I feel about that because I've read the books and the books were amazing. But I don't know how I feel about that.
oh my God, Mary Poppins returns.
Oh yeah.
Really?
What the shit?
I had no idea. I never even heard of such a thing. Mary Poppins returns.
Why are you Googling Mary Poppins?
No, I was 2018 brand new movies coming out this year, and that's in there.
You know, you didn't know. He checks every day.
Oh yeah, we're waiting for it. I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
He's been waiting for her to return for so many years.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
I had my boy was growing up watching Nanny McPhee or something, which is pretty much Mary Poppins for this generation.
Yeah, my sister hates Mary Poppins, but she likes Nanny McPhee.
And you hate a spoonful of sugar.
Or Dick Van Dyke dancing with
It's true. Yeah.
Spoonful of sugar.
I think she just never liked Julie Andrews.
Letters didn't go down.
Dick Van Dyke makes that whole movie anyway, dude.
So she didn't like the Princess Diaries, huh?
I don't even know if she watched them.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I'm keen for that. I really enjoyed the first Ant-Man.
Yeah.
I think they picked the right actor.
That's hilarious.
I love him. What's his name?
Paul Rudd.
I wish they had done a little bit more in there with the reunion that they did for Civil War, where they just kind of brought him in and threw him in there.
Little cameo.
Man.
It's funny.
I just love his character. That actor is just perfect.
I honestly didn't go see Ant-Man in the what he's gonna hang out with ants. This isn't gonna be cool. And then when I got it on DVD, I was like, I wish I would have. It was great.
Who's the older guy that's in Ant-Man?
Michael Douglas.
Yes. He was he was supposed to be Ant-Man.
What?
But
Oh yes. 75? Or you mean 30 years ago?
30 years ago.
I gotcha.
What's the Paul Red is a good actor.
Let's see, there was a couple other ones that sounded kind of interesting. Aquaman is coming out.
Ugh.
You don't want to see the guy from Stargate Atlantis?
Aquaman? No. I'm done with DC movies. Just done.
Actually, normally I see any comic. I'm a big movie fan, and I'll basically see anything. But I never actually ended up making it to see what was their group one called? The Justice League.
Justice League.
Yeah, I haven't even seen that yet. So I don't know. They're not pulling me in.
I've seen it. I thought it was pretty good.
I liked Wonder Woman. I don't know if I'd like Justice.
I liked Wonder Woman.
What's not to like, honestly?
But I hate Justice League.
I wish they had picked the guy from the TV show to be Flash. I think that would have been a nice little addition in there, rather than somebody brand new.
He was a Flash. Isn't he?
Not the one from the TV show.
Oh, okay.
Venom's coming out as well.
Oh yeah, Venom. Tom Hardy.
Kind of worried about the movie. Venom is one of my favorite comic book characters, and I worry that that movie will be bad. But I'm hoping that it'll be good.
You think it's what, not going to be dark enough with the comedy mixed into it, or you think it's going to be too dark?
I don't even know what to expect, to be honest. That trailer was kind of bizarre that they released. If you were to not know that that was titled Venom trailer or whatever it was called, and you just watched it not knowing what it was, and you'd watch it and you'd go,
What
you
the
wouldn't
fuck?
know. Yeah, you wouldn't know that was a Venom trailer. Like,
Yeah.
I think there's maybe one or two like few frames in that entire trailer where you see anything remotely close to Venom. Like you see the symbiote like in a couple of frames.
So they keep it
It's like really
really
weird.
low to the vest then.
Yeah, I just kind of worry maybe they're early in, or maybe I don't know. And just because it's being done not by Marvel as well, so that's
Fox.
Sony still have the rights to that, or is it Fox? It's whoever has the rights to it. Basically.
Yeah.
Keeping this
Fox.
chokehold on it.
That could be rough. Marvel definitely has their pulse, or their finger on the pulse of what the fanboys out there like. DC is playing catch up. I don't know if they've really kind of hit it out of the park yet on any of theirs, but
Wonder Woman did.
I mean, people liked it, definitely, but I don't know if it was up there with any of the Marvel movies. Like is it up there with the Iron Man or any of those?
I thought it was pretty good.
Don't think it's up there with Iron Man, but it's up there with Avengers. Yeah.
Isn't there a new Superman show coming?
I hope so.
A movie? One or the other. I can't remember. I'm thinking it's a TV show rather than a movie, but it could be a movie.
I really want them to kind of. I feel like in the Batman vs Superman got like 15 minutes of screen time in a movie that he's in the title of, which kind of bothered me.
Well,
I know.
You knew it had to be that case because Batman versus Superman. Who's going to win? Either it's going to be Batman wins because he's smarter, or Superman wins because he can overpower Kryptonite for some reason.
Right?
I mean, Superman has to win that one. Like, why wouldn't he win?
Oh boy, I lost all my HP buffs. When this thing breaks charm, it's gonna eat me.
I'll give you another puff.
Hell yeah. Living on the edge. You know what I mean?
I mean, technically, Superman should be able to spin circles around Batman before he even knows he's there. Toss him up into the sun.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't deny any of that, but I just wish they gave him more screen time. Like, you really don't see a lot of that. Movie was more like a Batman movie with Superman kind of here and there.
Yeah.
And actually, I did enjoy that movie. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, I just want more Superman story, I suppose. And I really hope when they do the next solo Superman that it is good. Because the Man of Steel, I only saw it the one time when it first came out, and I remember really liking it. But I'm worried that on a rewatch I might kind of not like it as much. So I kind of want to keep it how it is in my mind.
Right. Well, there's so many stories they could go with Superman that they don't. They always try to go with like politics or something. He could do so many things other than that.
See, I know that Superman was made in Canada, okay? And I don't know who makes him fly, because he can't fly. He just jump over tall buildings. No one said that he can fly.
Hulk.
The Hulk, yeah, that movie was pretty good. The one
The
with
Edward Norton one.
well, no, I mean the new one that they just did with Captain America, not Captain America, Thor.
Thor. I love Thor.
Hulk was
Ragnarok.
the worst thing in that movie, I thought, dude.
You thought what?
I think Hulk was the worst thing in that movie, to be honest.
What?
Really?
No.
Until the end.
Hey,
You have to have
Ragnarok?
better vocabulary than me. Not that I have a great one, but you know what I mean?
I absolutely adored Thor Ragnarok. I loved it so much. It's good though. It's kind of sits well with me as well because it was directed by a New Zealander, and a lot of the references in it were Australian and New Zealand references. Like all the ships are named after Holden Cars, which is an Australian car manufacturer.
Here.
I thought it was
Cheers.
really good too. I mean, I didn't have a problem with it, but I do kind of get what you're saying. Hulk actually speaking and not smashing things 24/7 when he's in the Hulk form may be a little weird to some people. I thought the humor was spot on though.
Oh, absolutely. The idea behind that is he's been the Hulk without transforming back to Banner for 2 years. So he essentially has like, he's supposed to be like a 2-year-old, like a toddler kind of intellect.
Yeah. It's weird.
Well, not every movie's for everybody out there, that's for sure. It's going to be cool when they do the Infinity War. I think having all those people together. I'm really looking forward to another movie with, what's his name? Doctor Strange in it.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I worry, though, there's such a vast, like, array of people. Like, how are they going to fit them all in? Like, it's just almost...
Teams?
It's such an undertaking.
I think it's going to be teams.
For a single movie to kind of, meaningfully have a time to show off everyone, and obviously, yeah, they're going to be all within a group and whatnot. But
I don't think you're really going to meaningfully show off any of them. There's going to be a few that stand out above the rest, and everybody else is going to have a little bit of screen time, which is why they spent so long giving each one of them their own movie. So you're not just like, who's that? Who's that? You already know these people.
Like,
I have no doubt that it'll be great. I can't wait for it regardless. But yeah, I don't even need just the thought of trying to manage that much stuff in a movie from a creative aspect. It just boggles me.
okay. First time we hear of it, 2 parts. One was 2 parts, one this year, one next year. And now it's only one movie.
I'm okay with it.
So they kind of combined it. Got
Yeah.
lots of things. And
Movies that
Cut whole friggin' bit of it, like 2 hours worth.
it's going to be extra on the DVD footage. No, I'm okay with that. The last couple movies that they try to split up originally from one movie or one story into 2, like they did that with The Hobbit, they did that with the Harry Potter franchise. It was just a money grab, and they ended up making both of the movies kind of slow because they're drawing it out when they didn't really need to.
You're absolutely right on The Hobbit there. What was the other one you mentioned?
The Harry Potter franchise. They did.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. The Hobbit. I feel like 2 movies would have been more than enough, realistically. I enjoyed all of them, but the last one did kind of drag on a fair bit.
Right, usually you
like
have that
could've-
arc, like you create a story, then you have the climax, then it comes back down. That one kind of ended on a climax, and you're like, oh, come on, like this should be the second half of that in this one movie alone.
Well, they added a lot of shit to it to pad it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Meanwhile, the Lord of the Rings series that could have had so much more added into it, they shortened that down. There's still going to be
Lord
2
of
Infinity
the
Wars.
Rings was a good movie, but seriously, there should be more stuff.
They could have.
Apparently,
they
they're
didn't have
looking
to.
into doing a TV series for Lord of the Rings, and Peter Jackson is apparently looking at. I think I saw some article saying he was. I don't know what it was saying. Something about Peter Jackson being considered, or maybe he was considering, or something like that.
I heard that, yeah. I was kind of curious as to how that's going to play out, whether it's going to be part of the storyline of what's gone on in the movies and the book, or if it's going to be just in the universe of...
Well, King of Gondolin was Aragorn, or... Yeah.
Nice little arrow effect.
We're going to have Severus 2.0. Like the other night when we all died to that AoE.
That was ugly.
That was horrible, yeah.
I laughed at that one.
Oh, were you watching that?
Yeah. I just laughed.
It happened so fast. I mean, we were just fighting, doing great.
We
and all
were
of a sudden, people just fell.
We were reeling back from the first big hit,
Yeah.
while the second hit, and then all of a sudden everyone's just like dead except me and Chicks and Model.
I'm sorry for you guys. I'm really sorry, but that was funny.
Just a nice combo of like bad timing on everybody's half on where their life was.
The chamois had just been res, so he was like low and mana, just perfect.
I had just got done using like 7 mod rods.
Oh man.
Bizarro says his butt still hurts from that wipe.
I need to AFK in about a half an hour to go pick up my son. So what I'll do is I'll drop the group and just flop right here. And then if you guys are still here, then I will join back up when I get back.
All right, man.
No worries.
You'll be all right. I was gonna say, or you can lay.
You better hope we're still here.
Oh, there's only one mob here, right?
I think so, and he walks back and forth too. So
So I can just hammer off of him, or
Well, in this cubby, the only spawn I saw was right here in the hallway, like in the center here. I don't think unless there's a patrol that comes through here that I wasn't aware of. But you should just be able to hammer off one of the slaves,
right?
Very safely, like line of sight them or something.
jeez, these area effects are pretty nasty lately. What's going on?
Oh, there's 2 mobs loose because her pet broke.
You guys have Endure Magic on or anything?
Just a song. That's
Uh,
easy.
I got it.
I've got Circle of Summer, Circle of Winter.
Oh yeah, that does too.
Yeah, not really magic ones, but I'll get you guys with it.
I think that area was fire, was it?
I think so.
Amazing that.
Yeah, I think that's one aspect, though, that video games have really delved deeper into than movies or TV shows do, is not quite following the stories, the books, and just delving into the universe itself. You know, they did that with a lot of the Star Wars video games that they came out with, taking on the role of like a bounty hunter or somebody else who never got any play in any of the other stories, and just making a great game built around that.
Not for a really long time have they done that, sir.
Wow. But they've done it.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious to see if they do that with the Lord of the Rings.
Although, I mean, honestly, the even the Battlefront 2, the new one, is the storyline is of not Chewbacca or Han Solo or Luke. You know what I mean? It's female.
It was crap.
It's crap, but I mean, I guess that is true that it's not a, Luke Skywalker's journey or whatever.
Well, because those are known, those are done so much, there's not a lot left to really tell a story on and make it interesting.
And that way you have to unlock him later. You don't get him from the beginning.
Right. You got to do that.
It's a pride and accomplishment.
The gambling aspect of it.
Well, like the Force Unleashed series, with the Star Killer guy, that is a whole different, and he's a pretty popular character now, just because of the, because of those games. People know who he is and the storyline and all that. So,
But
that's an awesome story, a great story.
Canon. No. What's it called?
But he's not in the Star Wars movies, and that game made him popular, I guess is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? I think, or mostly. I'm sure people read books and stuff and knew of him. You know what I mean? But I think that game really brought it to light.
Hey, Octo.
Game, by the way.
How you doing, man? Did you have fun doing that Vindy thing earlier? I heard it didn't go so well.
Don't be hating on Octo.
I'm not hate. I'm just rubbing a little bit of salt.
He's just asking a question. Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
He's asking about his welfare.
Why is Octo on welfare? What? I'm sure Vin
He's
didn't kill
a
them all
single father.
forever.
I mean,
I'm sure Octo didn't die forever. I'm sure they got rid of this. I think, maybe?
I don't know. He might be stuck in that purgatory, sitting over there at the entrance, butt naked.
Hey now. Oh, there's a gym over here, kids.
well, he would be if
There
AC were the one
was.
resing him.
I'd have to wait for my mana to get back up. I'm slow.
I'm picking this up. I don't know who it is. I'll give it to you as soon as. I don't know how long it's been sitting there.
Yeah, make sure nothing rots.
Who's next on the list, or do we have a list, or what?
Well, it's Vape, and we were doing was it reverse alpha?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It. so it's whoever's after Vape.
Chicks? It's S. Am I getting pulled over for DUI? I have to figure out reverse. Say the alphabet backwards.
Nope.
No.
I would never be able to do that. That
Well,
would-
standing on one leg with your
Yeah,
tongue back and touching your nose.
do they actually do that in real life, or is that just a movies thing?
No, they don't really do that.
I thought they did it, didn't they?
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure they do. I've seen it on cops. That's got to be true, dude.
I know over here they passed a law so they don't even have to do that anymore. By law, you can't refuse the test where they just eject you or take your blood.
They not have breathalyzers
They-
in the States?
They have those too, but they're not as accurate, so they just take your blood.
That's here. That's everything is all about the breathalyzer.
Yeah.
And what's called an RBT. They set up RBTs, random breath tests, and they just randomly breath test people.
Like,
And then
driving
if they
down
get
the-
like it'll obviously be random. Like I've been breath tests like Saturday morning, or like one that was bizarre. I got breath tests Friday morning once, but I think it was maybe after an event. Like there may have been like a community event the night before, so they're like trying to catch people out. But from what I've we have the similar type a cop style show here as well, an Australian one, and it mainly consists of just the whole breath test thing. But it seems if they get like some guys like, no, I'm not drunk at all, I promise, and then they get like a small reading. Then they have this van that they've got parked there, and it has a bigger machine in there it's more accurate. So if they get a little positive on the small device, they pull them into the van and make them blow into this huge pipe, and for a more accurate reading. And it's just that same type of dodgy reality TV show, really.
They need
Check
a
your
warrant
check.
to take blood still, but they usually get that. Yeah, I'm just saying that they had this huge thing where you used to be able to refuse it because it's your body, your thing, or whatever, right? But now, if they get that warrant, you can't refuse it. They're just going to take it.
Yeah, warrant or permission. And on the breath, you can refuse it. But
You can refuse
Like
breath here,
refusal,
but then they just take you straight to prison. Well, not
right,
prison.
refusal is basically saying guilty.
That's what it used to say. Like if you refuse, they take you to jail, and then they put you in front of a judge later on. Now, if you refuse it, they take your blood against your permission, and that way you can't deny that you
that
are
must
drunk.
have, that must have been kind of required some legal work to kind of pass it. Something like. I feel like a lot of people would think about that.
It was a pretty big thing that people were upset about, but they won the day. So
Interesting.
It's just a breath analyzer here. And if you refuse, they can't do anything about it.
They don't take you to the station.
yeah, they'll take you
No.
downtown.
No.
All right, they got to do something. I mean, they can't just they just refuse every time.
I need
Nope.
I need you to
Refuse them
pull over
well.
for a speeding ticket. No, I'm not pulling over, cop.
I'm just imagining someone like really, really drunk. And you're like, nope, I'm not drunk. I refuse. All right, on your way.
Crashing into
Thank
a
you,
fire hydrant.
officer.
No.
That was a
And,
nice-
like
Gravity flux.
if it's monetarily justifiable, then you can you can say no, but cops gonna still take you down to the station.
Yeah.
But it's that it's monetarily justifiable.
That's all in their opinion. Octo says he's loving this
yeah.
warrior now. Almost 28.
Man. You're right about the respawns in this zone, man. This is fast. We're struggling to kind of, like, I mean, we're not struggling, but I'm struggling to get any deeper, like, because we're just constantly getting repops, so kind of just killing the vicinity around the hole without really being able to go any further.
It's kind
But not that we need to go further.
It's kind of good though. I mean, keeps you busy, keeps you getting a lot of experience, and
it's amazing. It's fantastic. There's no downtime. This is really good.
Be horrible though if we didn't have the DPS we had coming in. Theft of Thought. Let me look that one
It
up.
might be a good one right there. Not like super expensive, but
I think it's still only 50 plat.
I'm wondering, is this...
Yep.
I have been down to Chardok many years ago on live, and I got the halfling mask on my bard. I feel like just down here past this tunnel is right where that mob spawned, at least on live. And again, I don't know if by that point a lot of the places of mobs would have been moved around, but I wonder when the 2.0 patch comes out, because that mask is coming in, I think. If that's where it is, just down the hall from here, because that would be cool.
I remember it being in a tunnel as well. Because I camped it for hours, man.
I think I tallied my hours. I had it written down somewhere. I can't remember. It took me like over the course of a week, like over 24 hours or something.
I was able to solo it though when I did it.
Yeah, when I did it as well on my
and
bar.
that ain't gonna happen here for sure.
Yeah, when I did it, it was past Planes of Power, so I was also able to do it myself. But yeah, that was one of my favorite illusion masks that I had on my bard.
I'm gonna go in next poll after this next poll.
All right, man. Well, thanks for coming out. Sorry we weren't able to do the Royals. Maybe sometime in the future we'll see if we can put together another raid and go over there and do that. But we were at least able to come over here and check out the zone, so...
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic. I'm so glad I finally got to come here, especially before the 2.0 patch as well.
Yeah. You gonna hammer out, Vape?
Yes.
Okay. And I think
I'm gonna hammer it out.
I think Tulink is coming to join us at some point. He had to go take his brother to work, and then he's coming back. PF Flyer says refusing to take the test gives you more legal recourse for the future, which is why I remember people saying they didn't want to take the breathalyzer test. If you know you're a bit drunk and going to blow over by the time they get your blood drawn, you might be under the limit. I don't know if that works too well here because they did a crackdown, obviously, with that law saying you can't even refuse. Most of the time, they get you within an hour. So,
It's Texas, dude. They're lucky they don't shoot you when you refuse.
you know, I hate to say you're right, but you're kind of right. It was like 2 years ago they pulled over a FBI agent, and he had a gun on him, and they shot him too.
What?
Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah. They didn't wait. They were just like, you know, one of those things that it was a huge deal because the FBI came down. They were trying to intimidate the police officers here, and the police officers are like, no, that's not going to happen. And, yeah. Texas.
Why would they shoot the FBI officers?
There was a lot of stuff on the news. I don't think anybody ever agreed on exactly what happened, but he had a gun on him. He also had a badge on him. Whether they saw one before the other, I don't know. I wasn't there, but yeah. Sometimes they're quick. Sometimes they're very quick on the draw. Sometimes they're not.
But I don't know. Why would they shoot the FBI officers?
That's what a lot of people were asking. It was just one.
It was
It
just
wasn't
one.
a lot. It was just one.
Like, he should have been pulling out the badge and then the gun.
I guess,
I just picked up that spell just because I didn't want to write. Just let me know if someone wants it.
nah, that was just vendor trash. It
How
was
did this
50.
slave decide to start hitting things?
Did I aggro it?
Is it on the mob or is it on one of the players?
No idea.
He's gonna die now. I'll tell you that much.
Words of accusation. Oh, you got cripple in there.
Oh shit! I accidentally attacked him. So
Cripple? I could use that for my shaman.
Snag it.
It's just there on that corpse on the wall.
Usually cops
You
won't
killed him.
shoot. Wow. I don't know. I give cops the benefit of the doubt because it's a hard job, and you know, in any horror movie that you see, the cops are always the in solution. Like if you're trying to get away from the bad guys, you're trying to contact them. So just the fact that they have to show up to those kind of situations, a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, and never know what you're gonna walk into.
I mean, I hate to be a jerk, but that's a stupid comment. I was a cop for 5 years. It just doesn't work like that. You don't handcuff somebody and then shoot them.
No, I don't think so either. But I'm just saying, in situations where they get on the news and people were giving them flack over different stuff.
Well, I'm thinking like the FBI guy. Maybe he was reaching for his badge and they saw the gun, and the guy's reaching in his pocket as they're seeing it. I mean, you know, reaction. He shoots you or you shoot them.
Yeah.
So that could be the situation where it was just a reaction type thing.
I'm not blaming
But
anybody.
obviously,
on that.
none of us were there.
Yeah.
So.
Just saying, it happens. You got some quick people
It
on the
does.
draw, and you got some people who are not so quick. And Yeah.
Or somebody, you know, a lot of times it's a kid that's reaching for something and not doing what he's told to do.
that's happened a few times here too.
And, you know, the officer's in a position where maybe he's reaching for his wallet or maybe he's reaching for a gun.
Well, you gotta.
He's not doing what you're telling him to do.
I always look at it as, what did he just come off from doing? You know, like if he just came off from like somebody dealing with a drug dealer and they got reached for a gun and he got shot last week. You know, maybe he might be a little quicker on the draw this week because of all that, say, experience you don't really see.
Oh, another cripple.
Another one.
Yeah,
Double cripple.
yeah.
There was a movie I was watching not too long ago. It was Bruce Willis taking the law into his own hands. Did you guys see that? The Death Wish?
Die Hard. Oh.
Die Hard 4?
Die Hard, no. That one was in Russia, wasn't it?
Oh, were there 4 of them?
I think there was. Yeah, he has a son now in that movie. No, this was Death Wish, like a remake of the old. Was it Charles Bronson?
Yeah, Charles Bronson was Death Wish.
Although you could have called it pretty much anything. Didn't really have any ties to the old Death Wish.
He was a different kind of police hero, or I don't know what you want to call that. Renegade officer, maybe?
In which
Something
one?
like that. Bronson?
I don't think he was a
You call
cop.
him like a... Wasn't he
Vigilante,
some
I
kind
think.
of... Was it maybe just vigilante?
I think so. I think he was just a regular citizen that had his entire family murdered. I don't know if it was right before him. I can't remember. They made so many of those. I think they went to 3.
There's a really good Kirk Douglas movie where he kind of went crazy. Where he had a buzz cut. I forget the name of the movie.
Falling Down. It's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, it's a really good movie.
Always sitting in that traffic. It'd drive you nuts.
Yeah, man. I love the scene where he goes to, well, it's not McDonald's, but it's like a burger joint, and he wants to order breakfast, but he's like 5 minutes late. It's like my favorite scene. And then he gets the burger, and it's like a piece of shit, and he's like, looks at the picture, and he's like, can anyone tell me what's wrong with this versus the picture? It's like, it's perfect.
It's kind of how life happens sometimes.
This is stress that everybody's felt. That's why we can relate to it. That construction, though, man. Oh my god. Like, I am right there with him on that. Remember how he gets the construction worker and he's talking to him and he's like, man, I'm just paid to stand here. We're not even doing anything today. Just don't shoot me.
Hey,
I actually gotta watch that again. It's been a while.
You're like my brother in Minnesota, man. He lives closer to his work than I live to my work, but it takes him like 2 to 3 times as long to get there, just because of the highway and stuff like that.
Houston, man, they are nonstop. I don't think I've seen 1 year where they haven't been doing construction on a major scale here. And I've lived here almost my whole life, so that's a lot of concrete. I think there was a few years there where we were the most used concrete of all the states in the country.
That's pretty crazy.
It's a wide area, though. I mean, if you look at like New York still has more people per square mile than we do. But you can drive for a good hour and a half, 2 hours, and still be within the city limits of Houston.
Yeah, I can't even fathom that. So, because like where I am, I grew up really rural, which is basically nothing. I think my hometown has a population of like 27,000, and then I moved to basically the smallest city in the country. So
nice.
It's just like a big town. I think the most busiest place I've ever been to has been Sydney, and even that, in comparison to like New York, is nothing.
Okay, I will see you guys later.
All right, man.
Take it easy, vape dog.
See you, mate.
Beep.
Thanks again for coming out, dude.
Oh, no problem. Thanks again for having me.
Now, I grew up in a small town, so I think that's, if I had my choice, if I could get the same job that I have over there, that's where I would like to live. But small town, fewer jobs.
You guys don't even know how much this mangler's making me curse inside my own head.
He's breaking a lot. Might have to invest in a few enchanter items. Yeah.
I don't know if it works. that
Oh,
way for
good.
Charm.
What
I
good's
think-
that gonna do me?
Druid Charm doesn't work on Charisma.
No, it
No,
doesn't.
I meant as far as giving
What about
him
the
resist.
anti-magic stuff?
Yeah.
The lower magic resist, does that help?
Oh, yeah.
Probably would.
Those spiked shoulder pads from Blackborough. That's one of the popular ones, isn't it?
It's cheap to get, and they drop a lot.
That might work.
Is it a shoulder or a neck? I can't remember. It's like minus 10 magic resist.
I
think it's
like
shoulders.
5 strength.
Ring from Gug. I remember that one.
Yeah, you give it more hit points too.
Just consider this training for Charming and Siren's Grotto. We're gonna take you there sometime soon. Okay.
Or Kale.
I love that aspect of this game. Like, that's just another one of those things that you will just not find in other. And I feel like it probably wasn't even intentional. It's just part of the mechanics that became like a thing. Like, you know, giving a charm. Oh, there's a hop here. We probably don't want to double. Should I drop the one that's
Two are
on
fine.
me?
No, two are fine.
I got a golem, and there's a mangler here, which I think will add.
I'll charm it. It's all good.
If that golem keeps coming. Oh no, it reset. The one time I actually get a membler is when I don't want.
But you don't think it was intentional the way it worked out? Because it seemed like they have.
Well, that's what I mean. Do you reckon that, you know, the whole, you charm a mob and you can, it has items.
Yeah,
in it, so if you give it anything, like, I just feel like the way it works is so crude that it can't have been intentional. But I don't know. That's just speculation.
I think it's player made. I mean, it was just an exploit. I mean, I can't imagine that the devs, said, "Oh, we're gonna let people give pets things to make them stronger or weaker or whatever."
My spell hasn't even reset yet.
I got you. I think.
I don't know, maybe. I sometimes give them a little bit too much credit, I guess, in the way things worked out. Because it seems like there is so much detail in other aspects of the game.
It's one of the things that makes the game so interesting.
Because if you look at, pets that you can summon, you can't give them items, really, and get them back.
Just weapons, yeah. Well, I wonder, could you, like, for example, I don't know, I'm sure there's way that, the very smart people who kind of get all the data from the game could tell that if you were to give, like, a summoned mage or necro pet that same shoulder piece, would the stats affect it, or would it just get swallowed up? Okay, I don't know.
That's true. Well, I mean, it doesn't get swallowed up because you can give those summoned pets items that
Give
will
them
appear
weapons,
on them.
But what about armor?
Like stat armor? Like will they get more strength or whatever? That's what you're
Or
saying?
even just AC, like I mean, I guess the reason it works for mobs is because mobs technically have an inventory because any mob can drop loot. So that means they have a slot, and it just so happened that their slots seem to be able to be equipable of certain, like the armor, which gives them the stats. Whether they have slots that are actual, like the same as a player character slots, where you have, like a chest and legs and all that, I don't know. Maybe it's just a whole bunch of slots, and anything that goes in them,
They definitely
has
do
stats,
on
it just
live.
automatically applies.
For
I'm
sure
sure on
on-
live, yeah. But, back in 99, I wonder how it worked.
I bet you they do. I bet you people just don't do it because you don't get it back. Like there's no no chance you're getting like a full set of bronze or a fungi or any of that. Because if you look at what Nibris puts on his, well, I guess you could do it with something cheap. I mean, you could do it with bronze, and you'd be able to see if the AC was a little higher than normal.
After this mob, I'm gonna flop and drop the group. And then if you're full when I get back, I'll just help out with whatever, or join back up if you're not full, or hammer out if you're gone.
All right. Bizarro says armor to necro pets get the stat armor. Trumps all stats when giving the item.
Yeah, I'll do it that way.
I mean, if you feign over here, you should be good.
Yeah, no, go towards the back.
I would say feign where there's not going to be no chance of AoE hitting you.
Up on the top of that rock.
We'll go on the other side of the room. There's just another door.
I'm good way up here. I mean, I can't imagine that I get hit up here.
I mean, you could even get a lev and go up to the left or right hand side of the wall a little bit higher.
I think I'm good.
Yeah, I think I'm good back here. All right, I'm gonna drop group and I'll talk to you guys in a bit.
You could stay in the group if you want, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind.
You can always boot you if we don't want you in here, too.
Yeah, if you get somebody, just boot me, and that way, if you do port out, I can ride with. Then I'm not
Sounds
trapped.
good. We'll just port you to a dangerous druid ring.
North
All right,
Carolina.
I should be back pretty soon.
North Carolina's would be
North
good.
Carolina. Yeah, North Carolina's got that high level druid there.
Or just leave them over in Tox.
Tox is a good place. That's home.
I mean, unless we really want to mess them up, we'll just go pick up a wizard and teleport them up into Plane of Hate.
That would be great. Expensive, but great.
That would really make us dicks.
How to Make Friends by AC Gamer.
Right?
Troll Master.
You just gotta make it interesting for people, right? If they come back and they're in the same like commons, they're like, "Oh man, these guys just left me here." But if they come back and they're butt naked and they don't know where they died, it's a good.
Did any of you guys ever play in World of Warcraft in any form?
Played it a little bit with Chupa, and I think we had Cypher in there and Thum. Mainly spent time doing the battlegrounds, but I got to explore a few of the zones here and there.
So I played in vanilla through Burning Crusade. At one point, with a bunch of friends from like real life. At one point, 3 of us decided this is in vanilla, so really early on. We went to a zone that was on an ocean, there was an ocean in the zone, just on the shore, and we went down as deep as we could. Warlocks have enduring breath. We went right down the bottom as far as we could before we would get fatigue, and warlocks could summon people, so we'd randomly try and invite people that were sitting in the cities to our group, and then you summon them. It was luck of the draw whether they'd actually click or not, but every now and then you'd get someone who was curious enough to click, and they'd get the summon, and they'd just pop up underwater, and they wouldn't be able to make it back to the surface in time before drowning.
Oh man.
So I've done my fair share of dickery.
What's the penalty for dying in World of Warcraft, though? Like, you have to get that corpse back or something?
You don't have to get the corpse back. You get a durability hit to any gear that's equipped, and then you have to go to your body, but you don't have to like loot it. So you spawn at a graveyard close by as a ghost, and you have to run to where you died, and then you just stop being like, you get there and you forget the word they use. I don't know, you just go from being a ghost to back to being alive.
But you guys still got to find
once
that body.
Yeah,
In
once
the
you're
water.
in the vicinity of the body. If you can't, then you do what's called a spirit res. So at every graveyard, there's a spirit healer, and you would click on her, and that will give you a spirit res, which will basically res you on the spot. But then it gives you res effects, and it also gives you a huge hit to your gear's durability. So that was basically wanting to be avoided if possible.
Probably better to do that than go looking in the water randomly, trying to find your body.
Well, I mean, the thing with WoW is there's maps, and you have a giant gravestone on your map showing you where your body is. So there's no real chance you're gonna lose it.
Bizarro Dave says, even better, we used to summon other guildies over high drop off ledges. I think you guys had a little bit too much fun with those. Did they nerf that in like later expansions to fix that from happening, or no? Still,
not necessarily. I think it's nowadays it's very unlikely that you will find anyone in a situation to need a random summon, or like people just wouldn't accept it these days, and probably spots like. Yeah, I mean, you could still definitely do it. Like in Dalaran, there's this main city at the moment, like the main hub is a floating city. So I'm sure there'd be some spots that you could go right on the edge of Dalaran and summon some of your friends and have them drop straight down. But again, that game is so far along now that almost every single class has something that, if done right, they can stop themselves from dying through fall damage.
well, that's good. I mean, at least they kind of fixed that so newbies aren't 100% getting trolled all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I doubt any stuff like that would really happen today. That kind of game is so like automated. No one's gonna be randomly finding a person to send them an invite. Like everyone's just sitting in the cities queuing up on their dungeon finders, and that's like they're not gonna, that's all they're gonna do. They're not gonna be looking for. It's not like back when it was like EQ, where it was like, oh, what's this random invite? Who are these people? What are they doing? And I'll look into this. It's like that disconnection kind of I would imagine makes that just not a thing anymore.
Right.
Because that's all you do in that game now. You sit in the city and you queue up for a dungeon. And once you get the dungeon, a group gets made for you, and then the game teleports you to that dungeon from where you're standing. You finish the dungeon, once you're done, you leave, and it teleports you back to where you were. So you can play the whole game from the main city if you really want to.
Do you feel, I mean, from somebody who played WoW from the very beginning, it sounds like for you, do you feel like the dungeon finder was something that was really nice to get, or that it kind of killed off the aspect of looking for groups?
Absolutely both. Dungeon Finder is great in terms of accessibility and ease. If I want to just get something done, like it turns WoW into something that you can viably, if you only have half an hour, you can easily jump on. If you're right class, tanks and healers will get instant, like you queue and you'll have a pop instantly if you're a tank or a healer. DPS have to wait a little bit longer because obviously there's more DPS than any other
there's
kind of. But yeah, in terms of what you lose, you definitely lose that community. Like you don't really make friends anymore. Unless you have friends that you already have, like a guild, you're not going to meet someone through a dungeon because it's all cross realm as well. Like you're actually getting queued up with people from multiple servers, so the likelihood of you ever running into these people again is very minuscule. And that means that you don't have that thing where you randomly find a group with someone and you're like, and then maybe the next day you're in the same spot and you find that same person and then you become friends, which is what's so great about this sort of game.
Right.
You just don't get that anymore.
I know it's a faster paced game too, so you don't really have time to sit down and talk and really get to know somebody.
You can go through an entire dungeon without saying a word as well now. It used to be more like in Vanilla and Burning Crusade, like I feel like Burning Crusade heroics were the closest this game ever kind of got to Everquest, where you had to really pace yourself. You needed to make sure you were doing pulls correctly. You couldn't pull more than one mob unless you had proper crowd control or marking system in place. Otherwise, you just wipe. And then when the Wrath of the Lich King came out, they threw all that out the window and they turned the game into essentially you run and you pull everything that you can and you AoE it all down. That's pretty much what the game turned into. And since then and now, there's kind of been a bit of a, like, they kind of go up and down between those two, but it's a bit of a mid-ground at this point, I would say. But definitely nothing like it used to be in the slower pace style like that we have in this game, which is what I really enjoy.
Right. I mean, I can't blame people who like the other one too, because it definitely makes you feel uber to be able to just like AoE every mob in the zone really quickly, and
Yeah.
you feel like you've worked towards that when you got to that level.
I mean, it's definitely popular. Apparently, Wrath of the Lich King was, I think they had their most. That was when they got the most new users out of anything kind of thing. Like that was their biggest hike in brand new players, was when that expansion came out, and I feel like that was a big shift towards the more like accessible kind of content.
Right,
So
casual side of it.
You don't, yeah. Well, no, I don't like to use the word casual because I feel like some people get offended at that, but yeah, I mean essentially, but not in an offensive way. It's just, let's just say accessible.
Right. You know, I mean, I don't mean casual in a bad way, but like you said, if you only have 30 minutes, you can jump on, you can get into something. That seems a little bit more, like you said, accessible or casual than Everquest, which sometimes you had to get on here
to
and
find a group, and you know, like
5
if I had
hours
30
later.
minutes in Everquest, I'm not even going to find a group, like let alone get to that group.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the difference.
But I mean, as far as like the dungeons go, did they have an aspect in there to help you make friends? As like with Deceit was another game that me and the guys were playing. When you did matches, it would randomly put you in there with other people unless you went in there with your friends. But at the end of that match, it kicked you back out to the lobby. It would give you a list of everybody you were just in a match with, and if you liked those people or if you thought they played well with you, you could, you know, make them a friend. Like, it gave you options. You don't have to remember their names.
In terms of that, currently how it works, like when it first came out, they didn't have the whole BattleNet system, and that's helped a lot. They brought that out. So now, if you like someone, you can add them as a friend on BattleNet, and you can see them in any Blizzard game that there is, if you want, or you can just add them as a WoW friend, and you'll still see them online. And that's because, like I said, a lot of this stuff is cross-server, so they might not even be on the same server you are. But I mean, a lot of the technology they're using, they're kind of every new expansion, it seems like servers are becoming less of a thing. Like they're kind of all amalgamating in together at this point. Even if someone's not on the same server as you now, you can still come across them out in the world. It used to just be in instances that they would do cross-realm stuff, but now it seems to be now that crazy technology that you can basically, if you're in the same battle group, like battle group is a large number of servers that are pulled together that can kind of cross over with each other. You can essentially play with them no matter where you are. But in terms of being able to keep a friend, if you're in a dungeon currently and you like, say you're doing a random queue, you've got a couple of friends, but then you get a couple of randoms in, and you're like, oh yeah, these guys are awesome. Let's maybe they're a group of friends as well. So you're like two group of friends that don't know each other, and you get to chatting in the dungeon. What you would then do is you'd say, well, let's queue up before we leave, so for another one, because you can queue inside the dungeon once you're done. So that way you don't get spit back out into your separate worlds, and then your group goes back to being, you know, them and you never see each other again. You can then continue on doing dungeons from that point, and then from there you can kind of, if it, you know, you really hit it off, then you have to basically just add them to the BattleNet and keep in contact through that system. So it's not like you say where you kind of get kicked out into it. You know, you have to put some effort into it, but it is doable. But it's definitely nothing like it used to be, where, you know, like you go and you're like, oh, I'm doing this dungeon at this level range, and I'm going to be here for the next week, basically exploring it, and you're going to come across the same guys every night, you know, and you're going to be like, yeah, this guy's cool. I've been grouping with him 2 nights in a row, and you know, you basically become friends. It's a bit different to that. It can still happen, but just harder.
Did you find that you made any kind of friends doing that, or was it mainly just like your clan that you tended to get to know a little bit more?
Back in the day, absolutely made friends doing that, when it was like before any sort of queuing system. And that's another thing with the whole aspect of, you just press a button and you queue for this dungeon, and as soon as it pops, you click accept, it teleports you to that dungeon. A lot of people these days, that if you had to manually run to that dungeon for whatever reason, people wouldn't know where it was. You wouldn't even be able to get there. You'd be like, okay, where is that? How do I get there? Because there's just that. Like, could you imagine, okay, I'm a guy in Everquest, and all I do is sit in East Commons Tunnel, but every time I want to get a group in Seb, I just click a button and it teleports me to Seb, and then when I'm finished, I'm back in EC Tunnel. And then all of a sudden they're like, okay, we want you to run to Seb. you wouldn't know how to get there, that kind of thing. So that happens a lot, and there's a lot of dungeons. So it's not very often that you have to manually run there, but it definitely kills that. It makes the world just seem minuscule because there's no one out exploring. And they're trying to kind of address that with new features. Like I feel like in the last expansion, the Legion, which I actually really enjoyed, they have all these world quests and stuff you can do, and it kind of gives you reasons to go out into the world and do things, which I really like. I like kind of that. I think was their biggest flaw in bringing in that system, was it inadvertently shrunk the entire feeling of the game because no one had a reason to leave the main city.
Yeah, that would be weird not knowing how to get to 7. And that's one of the things I felt that Live kind of killed the game on when they came up with the self-teleportation stones.
Yeah.
Is that
and the plane of knowledge books.
Because people didn't sit and sab anymore for like an hour, 2 hours looking for a group. Because if it took you 45 minutes to get there, you weren't going to leave immediately upon arrival. But with those teleportation zones, you could just get in, you could get out, you could be over in like 4 different dungeons within 20 minutes, and you just see people kind of popping their head in. I don't know what the right combination or balance would be, because I do like the aspect of not having to run into those zones. That sounds like a cool thing to be able to kind of just sit and do.
I feel like a part of that as well, I mean, like once a game starts getting a certain amount of extra expansions, you're only getting new players to a certain point, I feel, and your game's continually growing. The game's continually getting more and more zones. So I feel like it's hard to maintain extra players and obviously everyone wants to do current content. So inherently, you're shrinking your game, or at least the older parts of the game, by adding the new stuff, because no one really wants to explore those older zones because it's not current. So I feel like EQ did a really good job. Like that game, there was not a huge disparity, at least initially, between expansions. Like I remember even past Planes of Power, my guild was still raiding and doing Belios content. Whereas if you look at like a game like World of Warcraft, once the new expansion comes out, no one's in the last expansion anymore. Yeah. Or maybe they are, but they're definitely not in the expansion before that. Those places are ghost towns.
And that's why they're always just concentrating on like higher end content, because they always try to outdo themselves.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely not. It's not a bad way to do it. It's just that's what a result of that sort of system is. And then that's what I was kind of going into with that, is now if you look at Everquest 1, for example, there's so many expansions in that game. There's like 24 expansions now, that it would be impossible to try and keep all of those zones populated. That's just, the game is so large now that it's impossible.
I don't know.
So
I mean,
that's another aspect of the whole having zones kind of deserted.
I think they could. I mean, if you look at Canark and Velius, clearly I think at some point they need to stop creating more levels. I know everybody wants to go from like level 60 to 65, 65 to 70, and it feels good to get those extra 5 levels and get some new spells, but they've shown already that if you just create different content at the same level, people can still have a great amount of enjoyment and a great time getting those, maybe it's poison resist in one zone, maybe you get a bunch of clickies in the other zone, maybe one's geared more towards monks than the other one, but you kind of keep them all alive. And by not creating, especially armor, that just hands down is better than the last expansion.
Absolutely. I would 100% agree with that. And I think that's something Everquest did quite well. There were plenty of expansions they introduced that didn't increase the level cap. Whereas every single WoW expansion is at least 5 levels, some were 10.
Because you're right, it shrinks the game down for you at the higher end, and you're just like, why would I ever go back to those earlier zones?
I mean, that was my biggest thing. I want to say the biggest reason I didn't like Wrath of the Lich King was because I went from being a very high-end endgame raider in Burning Crusade, being in one of the guilds that was completely clearing all the content, and I had the best gear in the game, and then the expansion dropped, and the first or the second dungeon I did, 1 level forward, I was replacing the best gear in the game that was the best gear, a week ago with some green crap that was better. And I was like, well, this just kind of completely undermines the feeling of power that I had.
Where like EverQuest old school, you know, like the P99, one extra AC was enough reason for you to camp an item for like 12 hours, if not longer. They always want to outdo themselves. They want to make the next expansion bigger and badder, and I get that. You know, it's exciting to do it. But
I mean, that seems like the popular kind of way as well, because it's obviously the majority of people seem to like that.
I think you're shooting yourself in the foot as a developer, though, because you're, like you said, you're killing half of the game, if not more. Now, all that work, all that content that could be going towards, you know, you saying, look how vast and look how big our world has actually become. We have all of these zones you can go to. Is now like, oh, look at the 3 new expansion zones that we added, because that's where you're going to be spending all your time anyways.
Yeah. I know, it's a tough kind of thing to, I would imagine, to solve as a developer. I couldn't even.
It comes down to player base, like you said. There's people out there that absolutely love that aspect of video games, and there's other people, I guess, like us, that tend to, you know, want it a little bit slower, want more of a feels, you know.
That's a big thing with me. I'm such a slow consumer of content. It's unbelievable how slow I am. And my biggest problem with stuff like World of Warcraft, especially now that I'm an adult and I have a lot less time, I can't consume the content in the right pace. Like, it's probably because I lapsed. Like, I didn't keep playing. Like, I let a few expansions pile up, and now it's like I go back and I feel like, it's like,
it's overwhelming.
You got to keep on it, and yeah, it's so overwhelming. I just can't. There's so much stuff to do, and it just feels like I'll never get it all done. Whereas my biggest love of P99 is like, it doesn't matter how long I leave this, it's always going to be here where I get back, and not that much is going to have changed. Like, maybe a few guilds will be different, but in terms of content, sure, a few items will have been nerfed, but it's not like there's 2 expansions worth of zones that I have to go and explore that I've never seen before, kind of thing. Like, I can take my, like. And that's testament to the fact that I rolled this character in 2013, and I've only just kind of, you know, got my epic, and I'm about to hit 60 now in 2018. Like, no other game would be like that.
This guy's loose and on my face.
What'd you do to that guy?
You know, I healed somebody, and he didn't like it. Yeah, I think if game developers, and I hope, you know, Pantheon is kind of taking notes on that there are some people out there that don't mind expansions not coming out every year, maybe every 2, maybe even every 3 years, and just you perfecting what you already have, maybe adding a few items in here and there.
But I mean, and that's like, we go back to it, that's, you got to keep your player base happy, and not everyone, like, you get people who do complain that, oh, well, we're done now, and they're going to lose those players, and they got to keep the balance because they need to make money. So it's, how do you do it as a developer? It's hard.
Yeah, but see, if you look at that, those people, they always want something new. And if you're always trying to create something new, that means you're spending money to hopefully make money. Whereas the other community, as soon as you're done with the game, they're just happy playing it. So you would think you would make more money with those people long term, because you're really not doing a lot of effort to keep them happy. I don't know. I've never looked at the business model on their side to figure out what the calculations are and if it's really good for them. But the P99 servers, they're up and running, and they kind of are only there because of the donations given to them by the community who play this game, and so they don't have to charge anything for it.
Yeah, they don't have stockbrokers or overhead, or, well, it's much overhead. Hired guides, you know what I mean?
So
How much cost?
I mean, but if you're not in it to get rich, it definitely seems like it's viable to create a server or a game like this. You're going to make money. You're going to get a paycheck. You're going to, you know, maybe even have time to work on another project while you're still doing this one. But at least there's one more game coming out like this, you know?
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Waited so long for something.
Dude, your guy's the Crocust or whatever, Crocust guy. So, I just pulled a slave. What the hell, man? My bad.
Use him as a pet.
Yeah, could. Then I still gotta kill him at some point.
Let's see. Bizarro Dave says that's exactly the reason I left WoW for what you said about the gear. They did that on live too. If you guys remember the Defiant gear, when I came back after being gone for a long time. I think I was gone for like 8 years on there. I came back and everything I was wearing was just garbage compared to the Defiant gear.
Yep, that was not one I got back. Actually, I wasn't a paid person, so I couldn't use my raid gear. And but stuff was dropping in the noob zones that was better than what I had, played 8 years for, as I played.
It's kind of a hard feeling to let some of these items go too.
Oops, sorry, accidentally. I pulled a save as well. My bad.
It's easy to tab target and get one, to be honest, especially for
Exactly
me as a bard. Trying to tab target and mez or slow.
If you think about how much time you spent trying to get your epic, or how much time you spent trying to get that fungi or that mask, and then finding out there's something better or easier to get in the next expansion,
Yeah, it's
kind of kills you.
Definitely kind of diminishes that feeling of accomplishment that you, or the pride. I mean, a lot of my stuff I feel so prideful that I managed to get it, and then like if there was something where I just go in, the next expansion drops, and oh, look at that, the first like leveling dungeon you're at, just crappy armor that anyone can get is dropping. It's better than that huge accomplishment piece that you got. It just kind of, it's not a good feeling for me, but not a lot of people get hung up on that sort of thing. So,
well,
it's all down to the player.
Another thing is, it depends on the type of gamer I guess you are, because if you look at Borderlands, I don't know if that's a game you ever played. That one's all about the sheer supply of loot that you can get in that one.
That's like Diablo style loot system, right? Where you're just constantly getting drops and constantly looking for those small upgrades through like frequent loot.
Sometimes large upgrades too, like they just throw like random stuff at you and see what sticks, but you don't ever really remember any of the names of the items. Like golden Afridi boots you can name your fungi, you can name all these items in Everquest. But in some of those games, really the only thing you know about is like the corporation that makes it, because they make a certain type of weapon.
I just stole her pet. You can have it back in a minute. Sorry. That's how Project Gorgon is. There's slight upgrades on everything. Or like I'm still learning about my class over there, the Bard. I have like 4 or 5 loots in the bank, but every single one of them has kind of one's good for like an AE song. One's good for like healing, you know what I mean? So I don't know if I'm supposed to carry a loot for every occasion or carry 4 different ones depending on what I'm doing. You know what I mean? I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing yet.
Well, that game is still so new for you. You're still enjoying the aspect of not knowing.
But the other weird thing about loot there is it seems to drop like specific loot for you. So like I get a lot of drops that have like Bard and Shield on them, you know what I mean, or effects on them, you know what I mean, rather than loot a piece that's like for hand-to-hand and fire magic. I don't get as many for that.
How do you feel about that, Matt, having loot that drops specifically to the creature or the character you're playing versus just random loot that drops?
It's different for me because I played Diablo and it's like, upgrades all the time, but it actually makes you sit and instead of like looking for one that's better than the other or taking your time trying to search that certain one, you actually have to filter out what you do have and decide like which am I going to be a healing whatever and use this, or am I going to be a DPS and use this, or am I going to be a Krug and use this? You know what I mean? Kind of got to make a decision on what you're going to carry or keep or get rid of.
You think when they created that system though to give very class specific items dropping was a answer to people twinking? Because I remember on live, people absolutely gave so much crap to people who would start level 1 and put all this great gear on them. I never understood that. I mean, if you earned it, why wouldn't you want to put it on your low level? It makes things a little easier, makes things a little faster.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what they're thinking there. You really have no reason to make an alt on that unless you want a different race or a different sex, because you can do all the things on one character. You know what I mean? Pretty much. You can do, train and everything. But anyway, I ramble about that game all night. I don't mean to.
No, you're fine.
It. And then like Astron's Call, I think it's a slower game too, but not as slow as P99. You know what I mean? So.
Well,
I haven't played that one at all.
I don't even think Astron's Call exists anymore.
Am I saying the right? Yeah, isn't it Astron's Call? That's people were playing right now? I think that's the one.
I don't think it exists anymore.
Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong game then.
I was pretty sure that I got shut down, but
Yeah, I don't know that one.
I thought Superbits was playing that, and so was that Horkalong guy.
Shroud of the Avatar?
Oh, Shroud of the Avatar. That's what I meant to say. I'm sorry. Wrong one. I apologize. Yeah, Shroud of the Avatar, I guess is what it's called.
He's also playing the one you're playing, too, that Project Gorgon.
Yeah. That Horkalong guy is playing that quite a bit, the Shroud of the Avatar. And I don't think it's as slow as P99 Everquest, though, to be honest. But it's a slower. I don't think it's WoW.
I'd be okay with it being slower.
Are you going to play Flats? You seem to be a WoW kind of fan or whatever. Are you going to try the vanilla server?
Vanilla, yeah, I will. Absolutely. Well, the big thing with WoW for me is, like, I got into EverQuest through my older brother, and I was playing it through high school and whatnot. But as you can imagine, in that time period, EverQuest was, like, no one in Australia, no one that I knew anyway in my small town would have been playing. Like, I think I knew one other person. It was actually my brother's friend who showed us the game. It was like the only person I knew in real life who played it. So I was obviously into MMOs and stuff through this game. And then WoW came right along kind of the perfect time for me. It was right around the time I was leaving. I was towards the end of high school, and like I had a bunch of my high school friends who we all played computer games, but we mainly played stuff like Counter-Strike and like LAN games. So when WoW came out, that was a good kind of, they weren't really interested in EverQuest because even by that point that was like an old looking game and stuff like that. But WoW dropped, and we all it was perfect. We all kind of played together, and that's why I really got into WoW for the first 2 expansions, and then we kind of stopped after that. But yeah, I absolutely adore a vanilla WoW through Burning Crusade, so I'm very excited to play that again. And there's a lot of kind of talking about, they're kind of up in the air still about exactly what they're going to be doing, whether it'll be true vanilla or what aspects and stuff they'll be leaving in or out. And there's lots of talk in the community about how it should be, and they should make it vanilla, but then they should keep this one aspect from X and whatever expansion in there, and other people are like, oh no, they should just make it pure vanilla and all this and that. So I'm very interested to see how they end up finalizing that. But regardless, I will try it out, and I do hope it does well.
I never played WoW before, but I'd be more, if they came out and said this is exactly back in the day, I'd be more tempted to try it if they did it that way. Just you know what I mean? So I could say I tried it, the original content, so to speak.
Just like EQ Live is versus Classic, very different game from how WoW is now to how it was. Maybe not to the same extremities as EverQuest is, because EverQuest has that extra age on it. But definitely, just games as they go on, they evolve, and you look back at how it was to how it is now, 2 completely separate things almost.
Yeah, but I think AC and I talked about it. If you go and watch a TOP server, that's not classic EverQuest, even though it's TOP.
Yeah, no, not at all. Exactly.
So is this new server that they're coming out with, is it straight up classic? Like they have a copy of what it used to be, or are they doing what P99 did, where they kind of have to backwards engineer it and change a few things as time goes on?
That's kind of what's up in the air, because there was always a community outcry for a classic server for the longest time, and that kind of really culminated when Blizzard shut down that big emulated server. I can't remember the exact name, Nostradamus or something.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've just screwed that up. I pulled these 3. My bad.
Oh, it's all right. I can pay attention and mez instead of not pay attention. My bad. I mez or charmed something, maybe. I think I charmed the caster actually. Sorry. On the Janissary, I guess. Is that all right? You need a different one. Did I lose you?
Who did you charm one, or you mez one?
I charmed one on a Janissary. I think my Discord dropped for a second.
No, I can still hear you.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'm on the
Janissary.
On the Janissary. My bad.
No, that's alright. Yeah, you got 1 mez and 1 charmed. Perfect. Yeah. Love bards. So yeah, getting back to, there was a huge outcry when Blizzard shut down that that emulated server, and everyone was like, well, if you're going to shut that down, then you need to release a classic server because there's a demand for it. And before that, there was they either didn't talk about it or they said that it was never going to happen. And apparently at one point, they actually sold off the old server racks at an auction, like the vanilla server racks.
What?
Or the vanilla hardware, or something to do with essentially the pure vanilla things. They had sold them off at one point. So when they finally announced the official vanilla server, they made some comment about how they needed to go get one of those back or something. And then yeah. So again, like I said, it's nothing's concrete at this point, and they don't even really have a release date. It'll probably be sometime next year, but the community's all up in arms about how it should be, and no one really knows exactly if it'll be pure classic, which I kind of hope it is, but it's just unknown at this point. I worry a little bit, but I'm hopeful that they'll keep it as close as they can. But I guess at the same time, I mean, they're going to want to make money, so yeah, I worry that'll make them make some changes to
like in-game currency buys.
Maybe not so much that, but maybe just make changes to keep people playing or to draw people in that might be different from the classic experience. Like, can't really think of any examples, but maybe like they won't want people to go through content so fast, or maybe they'll think people go through content so fast, so they'll put more stuff in than should be in the timeline, stuff like that. I don't know.
Why do you think they're so allergic to creating classic servers without all the niceties that they assume, I guess, people want when people are clamoring for a classic server?
I don't know. I feel like Blizzard they're a very unique developing, the studio. Just the fact that they've done things like created entire games to the point of basically ready for release, and then be like, you know what, we're not happy with this, and then scrap them to never be seen again. I feel like they're very particular in what they put out. At least they used to be. I feel like these days they're partnered with Activision now, and I feel like Activision are very... I'm not a huge fan of Activision, but how much that affects the Blizzard side of the mentality, I don't know. But they used to be the kind of company that was like, well, we're not going to put it out no matter how much we put into it unless it's perfect. What? So I don't know if that was part of it's hard to say what their kind of ideas behind all that sort of thing is now.
I'm just saying, Sony or now Daybreak Games, they're kind of the same way. They keep saying they want to create like a classic server, and they, time lock progression, all these things, but they refuse to ever, put the old graphics back in, like things that people were clamoring for, even just on one server.
Yeah.
And I'm not quite sure why they won't do it.
That's very interesting, those guys. They're obviously their biggest money makers at this point, which is why I think they've just released that, was it Korniav is the most recent one, and that's what number TLP is at now, like 4 or 5?
At least.
So... and it's weird, when I went back and I was messing around online looking at my old characters, I noticed that now when you go back into the old starting cities, and you go out into the noob yard in like Queenos or whatever, the bats and the rats and the snakes all are back in, and even the skeletons are back to their old models, so they look just like they do in P99. Which, when I was playing the first 2 TLP servers, that was one of the big drawbacks, is you go out and they've got the new models, but it's across the board. It's not even... I wasn't even playing on a time lock progression server, and those models were active on live. So yeah, I feel like they're kind of maybe slowly working towards doing that, like making it as classic as possible, but who knows what kind of would have to go into that. I imagine it'd be quite a large undertaking. Yeah,
because they didn't save any of the old... I don't understand why they didn't. How big can the server really be that they couldn't save a hard drive with different... again, as somebody who has ever worked on a computer knows... They die on you. These things happen. Power goes out. You lose all your stuff. You back up. You back it up.
Back shit up, man. Yeah, exactly.
So for them to claim that they don't have any of that is just a little ridiculous in my book.
But I remember the initial claim of the reason that the zones weren't getting replaced. So, like EC Tunnel is like, the common lands are completely different. They all look new, and Freeport's probably one of the biggest examples. That whole city is completely different.
They merged it into
one. And they say the reason... yeah, they say the reason that they aren't taking the time lock progression servers back to the initials is that they have to run alongside the live servers, and there was no way to like separate them. So it was some weird, whether that was just a fairy tale that they were pulling off as an excuse, or if that was the actual fact, I don't know. That's what they were going with.
I mean, maybe it's true. I don't know that much about the programming aspect, but if you look at games like Minecraft, there are a gazillion and one servers all running different versions and mods, and they're all fine, So you'd think a big company like a Daybreak or Sony would be able to figure a way around that, especially Blizzard.
Did I come back just in time for the Betrayer?
Maybe. Is he up?
Is there?
Yes,
Not
yes.
sure. Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. I need the footage.
It's on my
Amazing.
track.
See if we can find him.
Need more.
Oh, he flopped it.
Is that 2-link?
Yeah, 2 links.
Yeah.
Zola?
Yeah,
See, I'm rambling so much, so I'm not even paying attention to group. My bad.
No, you're good, man.
Is Zola in voice at all with us, or?
Yeah, he is.
he was. I don't know if he still is or not.
I feel bad because I've been messing up a lot of the pulls, and I've probably been ignoring.
Got a gym.
Hilarious.
I mean, that's how we do it here in our groups. We try to keep it as casual as possible and let people just kind of sit back and have a good time.
Hey, everyone, smile because this is definitely going to make it into the next video.
I had been spamming track, just waiting for this guy to pop.
He looks like a slave. He doesn't look special at all.
Yeah, yeah. Which is why when I saw these slaves, I got really excited around the corner, and I was like, oh, wait, it's just this boring old slave.
Yeah, it's pretty good. 144. 164.
Is it a dual hit or just one?
One. The second hit was like 68.
No, but I mean, he's dual hitting you at least.
Yeah, he is double attacking.
You guys, I can't believe how perfect the timing is for this. I've just been editing together the video that is in relation to this guy, and I didn't have any of this footage, so I was like, what am I going to do here? And then I jump on today, and I see you guys in Chardok, and I'm like, oh, that's perfect.
Well, we were hoping for Cleric epic footage, but
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not in a big rush to get my Cleric epic. At least this way, yeah, I can take like another year to get it, and anytime anybody asks me why I haven't done it, I'd be like, well, we tried doing it, but it didn't work out, so now I got an excuse.
Well, not when ZK offered to buy you your epic.
If Zayola doesn't have epic already, I'm more than happy for him to have that.
Oh yeah, if he needs it for his character, then
I might need that for my birthday, actually, now I think about it.
You have a bard? Or you have a monk? I didn't know that.
Yeah, we'll afford it.
although he's in Aftermath, he should have it twice.
Right.
I just need I'm gonna loot just so I can get the inventory shot. I'm not gonna loot the pipe. I'm just gonna.
I got this gem. Is it Reptox? This is your gem, sir. You get down there.
Is it on a body or?
Right here in my hand, or cursor. You're down there.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Oh, and he needed it too? That's awesome.
All right, congrats, man. Does he already have the Chardok or not? The
He
KC?
probably does have the KC pipe, or has access to it, I'm sure. The Chardok pipe is the hard one.
Oh, he already has somebody to MQ it.
Chardok pipe is essentially the hardest part of the entire monk epic for most people.
And it's not even really that hard if you think about it.
Yeah, it's just
Well, you
There
gotta
was
know-
one time I was in a guild group, and there were 6 of us, and we spent the whole day in here, and every single one of us left with a pipe.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just a time and knowing the right people, having the group available.
And RNG. I mean, if you get really unlucky, I can imagine you could spend a while down here and not see one. And Chupa said awesome, so big congrats to 2Link. Another 0.5 on the server coming pretty soon. Should be able to do EJAG if you need it. It's a fun little fight.
Yeah, he'll get those kills super easy, man. I mean, I'll help too, but I think he'll have enough people show up to get him. You know?
Oh yeah.
Only thing he might have a hard time with is Sky, because I don't believe Aftermath has a day to go up into Sky, so they might just have to...
No, but you can one group that, and they'll just take a guild group up, I'm sure. That's all we did.
Yeah, I killed it with 2 clerics, Zentol and myself.
Yeah, he's easy.
Wow, I didn't know you could do it that way.
Yeah, we one grouped it. I think
Even Frank's not really a
5
problem.
or 6. You just gotta have a wizard to get you there.
Or pay one. I mean, you know, if you bring your own gem. Yeah, it's interesting to see how WoW has changed over the years, just like any MMO that survives that long. They did take a pretty big hit. Do you remember what expansion that was? For like, it made the news on regular news, CNN and Fox, and
Yeah, I think it was Warlords Adrenaline, maybe.
something like 30 or 35% of their
Which is the
subscription
one.
base.
I think what happened was every expansion they would always release their numbers to the public, and I think that one expansion was the one they didn't, and there was speculation about loss and all this stuff.
Well, they stopped after that, I think. I think they released the numbers on that one, and then they decided never to do that again.
Yeah, maybe something like that.
Which, you know, if you're going to release an expansion that many people hate, or at least dislike enough not to re-up, me as a gamer, I would assume the business side would be like, well, maybe we should, fix that. But they doubled down. They kept going in that direction. So maybe they have a vision. I mean, it's survived that long. Cataclysm?
So it seems like, yeah, Cataclysm, Mr. Pandaria, and Warlords Adrenal was like their kind of down period. And then it seems Legion, I agree. I mean, I was not a huge fan of the last 2 expansions, but I played Legion for 6 months with my friends, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I feel, I don't know whether the numbers reflect that, but I feel like they seem to be turning in the right direction.
That's pretty cool, though, that they can like recoup from that. Come back with something that actually makes the game enjoyable again.
Apparently, I mean, again, I don't know how true this is, but I heard a whole bunch of the creators, the devs, basically put their all into Legion, and because they were like, after that they retired or they left or they stepped into other projects. So they were like, a lot of the stuff that they kind of they wanted to put in the expansion before that, but didn't have time to do it. They just all saved it for Legion, and they pushed it because a lot of new kind of mechanics and I guess concepts got brought in with Legion that were really, really nice and refined. So I hope they manage to continue that on with the next one, because I'm always skeptical when a new WoW expansion comes out. So I'm worried it's just going to be another like meh.
Especially if it sounds like what you're saying is a lot of them left to go work on different projects. You're gonna have a whole new group of programmers and developers.
Well, whether that was gonna, I don't know. Maybe with the success of Legion, they then went, okay, well, hold on, let's maybe not lose these people. I don't know again, and I don't know how true that was. It was just something I heard some WoW content creators say, So it might not necessarily be true, but they definitely did seem to kind of put their all into the Legion. And, in my opinion, they did well.
Shoot, all I need now is do my fights for Epic. What is that, 3? 3 fights?
4.
Ejag, then Guan, and then Trunt, and then Zenny and Deep. If he's already got the Daniels reference from Skyfire.
Which apparently is pretty easy to get. I got that a long time ago myself.
If you know the rotation, amazingly easy. I didn't realize how easy it was until Zentile showed me, and it's crazy. It's another one of those things. It's just like, can be hard if you don't know the trick, but if you know the trick, you can get it. I think he went there to figure out the rotation a day because he was going to help me out, and he went there. I was supposed to get on, but I ended up being busy, so I wasn't online. And he apparently spent that day, and he got 9 of them that dropped and rotted because he just figured out the rotation and soloed it.
Is it something you can share, or is it like a secret that they don't?
Oh, no, absolutely. I can share it. So what it is, there's a specific spawn point, and how it works is you just need to find the one mob that is on that spawn point. You kill that, and then every 30 seconds, and the next mob on that table will spawn on that exact point, and that is the one spawn point that all the stuff that drop immortals is on. So you just the hard part is finding it, and there's a certain list of mobs that is on that table, and so you just have to run around and you essentially fight those mobs. And the hard part is because it's Skyfire, everything's roaming and stuff. So it helps to have a tracker, and you get someone to just track, and you pull all those mobs to the spot, and you kill them, and eventually you'll kill it, and then all of a sudden, on that one particular point, a mob will spawn, and then you know you've got it, and then you just sit there and you kill that spawn point over and over, and eventually the mob will spawn. Once we got that down, I think it took us 15 minutes before it dropped.
That must have been what the Necromancer was doing that day we were there, because he got like 4 or 5 within a matter of 20 minutes maybe.
Apparently, Necromancer is very good at doing it because I think they just camp their pet on the spawn spot. So, but I've heard that Necros are really good at it. I don't know.
I got mine from a Necro.
I don't know what makes them particularly good at it, but yeah, like anyone that can track should be good at it as well. Maybe it's because they can put their pet there, but they can also solo quite easily all the mobs. I have a whole bunch of footage of the whole rotation that we did. We had 3 monks, so 2 really geared monks. I had Zental and I've already forgotten his name. Impaction. They both have Tunair weapons. I think Impaction has 2. He has the staff and the fist of Tunair, and Zental has the fist of Tunair. So we had those 2, and we had Saunter, who's the druid who kited deep for me, and then myself. And yeah, we just destroyed everything around the spot until it just started spawning, and then you just sit there and kill, and it just takes no time at all.
Imagine with a Necromancer, just because he can flop as well, pulling in a zone with so many ads. PF.
Yeah, there were, and I feel like with the amount of people we had there, because there were times where we pulled 4 or 5 mobs, and we were just able to burn them all down. So that would be a benefit to a Necro, being able to just drop that stuff off.
Well, the PF Flyer is saying you can fear kite on the wall next to the bone field, so it makes it super easy.
I got another gem. Who's up next?
All right, Night Chupa, man. Hope you feel better.
See, actually, that might be me. Actually. Oh my gosh, I'm stealing your gem here. I'm actually gonna go very shortly, to be honest with you.
So. I guess when they head out, guys, we'll just do an evac here. And may try it again here in just a couple of days or something. It seems like a couple more people still need some pipes. And did you need footage for anything else? Like, what's the next step on your...
No, that was perfect. Essentially what I just got here today is everything I needed, so that's amazing. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would love a pipe as well, but in terms of what I absolutely needed, I've now got.
Well, seeing how easy it was to keep this spot once we got down here, I think this is definitely doable for us to come back.
I was expecting it to be much harder than this from everything I'd read, but yeah, we did really well.
I gotta admit, though, having Noddle in any of our groups tends to make things feel a lot easier than they tend to be otherwise.
Unless I'm on my warrior. No, I'm just...
Well, I mean, a bard doing all the things that bards can do.
It's just a class, man. It's not me. Just me.
I've grouped with some bards that are not nearly as good.
Yeah.
I don't want to give out any names or anything, but some of them suck.
I think it's the druid, dude. That's what I'm saying.
It's terrible.
Yeah, she got the pet.
Is Nonal the one who had the ranger with us in Seb? Was it Face Cracker or something like that? Or is that someone else?
Meat Stick.
That was Meat Stick.
Beat Stick, that's it.
He's actually a warrior.
Beat Stick.
So everyone calls a ranger. This
Wait, is he really a warrior?
He is really a warrior.
Oh, well, that's I guess I mistaked it because everyone kept going on about Nonal's ranger.
Yeah.
It's a little.
I like to be different. You know. What a wood elf warrior.
I think that's legit, man.
That seems like that would be a good spell for a chanter. If anybody has a chanter, a dementia, probably like a mem wipe or something.
It
I don't know. Mine's
decreases
48
hit points by 615.
Oh, maybe not.
Stuns for 0.0 seconds.
Well, there you go, Shix, if you want it, or if anybody cares.
Holy crap!
I was thinking it was a Memwipe. Dementia sounds like Memwipe.
Am I just continuing pulls until we're ready to go, or do you need me to stop? Or
No, just keep going. I guess until
I'm good for a while. I mean, 45 minutes or so.
I mean, I'm gonna go in a little bit, but you guys have 3 monks. As long as you can single pull route, you're good to go, man.
Well, I mean, if you're heading out, he's gonna head out shortly thereafter. Might as well call it while everybody's still alive. And
Yeah, right.
I need to look at wrapping it up too pretty soon, so it's a good time for me to drop when you guys go. It's probably a good time to wrap it up.
The only thing you have to be careful here, what you guys are doing, I don't think you need me for, is like the push to casters. That's the thing you got to remember about this camp. You either got to stun. I'm using my loot or my, the stun thing that looks like a loot. Well, it's not a stun; it's a mez. But anyway, that way it interrupts the cast. You know what I mean? Or you can chain mez.
Well, me and Shix.
No one else leaving would be a pain in the ass for me.
Mana, yeah. Me and Shixka with the machine gun punches should be pretty good at pushing spells.
Yeah.
it's got to get you guys 2 T-staffs.
Monks may be the best pushers in the game, man. Would you say that, or rogues?
Yeah, I would agree
Probably.
with your epic fist, because it's 9. The epic turns your fist into 9/16 delay, 9 damage 16. So it's like, I think it's currently the fastest weapon, because there were a few weapons that were faster, but they don't drop anymore, like the moss-covered twig and one of the whips.
He's killing all the slaves.
Setting the slaves free. One of them had a shovel. What kind of shovel that is?
Can you dig it?
Is that the same shovel mages can use, or is it different?
Does it have to be
Maybe
called
anyway.
a shovel? Like the torch
Yeah,
has to be a
like
torch?
the only way to.
They
That's actual 2-in-1.
they drop
Maybe
one
use that.
over in Seb too. So I think that's
That's
a
a
good one.
lousy weapon.
Can be part of my role-playing set.
It's a miner. XR miner.
I could be a gravedigger.
I have a former guildie that wrote a song about one of our nights in the Betrayer camp. We had a enchanter with us, was like, charming all the slaves. Yeah, it's a completely useless pet, but he was doing it anyway.
Yeah, I think Druid should have gotten access to a few more animals in this game. There's several animals that should be classified as one, and they're not.
Like, what?
I think like bats are thankfully classified as one, but you guys know there's tons of them out there that you look at them and you're just like, that should be charmable by a druid, and there's not.
Like a half animal, half person thing, or whatever. Like
werewolves?
You think? Like a gnoll? Is that an animal or is that a person?
Yeah, I don't think you can charm gnolls, but I would say that maybe they should have been able to.
Yeah. I guess it really depends.
Kobolds? Like, can you? I don't think you can charm kobolds. They're basically
Like,
animals.
It seems the rule of thumb is that if it has like a 6-pack, you can't charm it. If you're a druid, it's not an animal.
I got a 6-pack in our fridge. Is that what we're talking about?
Yes, not all. Yes, that's what we're talking about.
Are you looking at their 6-pack? It's just weird.
Flip just hit me up. He's like, I thought it was canceled.
It's not that I'm looking at it, it's just that it's noticeable.
Tell him you got your epic, dude.
No, because he'll want to go and do the Ragefire thing tonight.
It'd keep you up all night for it, too. Probably ought to charm something or something. Alright, after these two, whatever you pull next, I'll hammer off of, unless we're gating, if that's cool with y'all.
No, just have Terra Fortis out, yeah.
Alright. Well, there's an extra person, so I can hammer. You can port Shix out with you guys or something like that. So we have an extra
He's
person.
in the group.
Who's
Oh,
the extra person?
never mind. I'm an
Everybody's
idiot.
here.
I swear to God,
I
Two
thought-
Link just sent me a tell saying the same thing. If I wanted in the group, I'm like, I'm in the group.
I thought we were full before you came back, dude.
No, because we lost Vape.
Because Vape Dog, that's why.
I mean, he was feigned in the back for a while, so maybe you guys are thinking that he wasn't in there for that, but he's been back for a while now.
Where's you been, Chicks? Jeez.
I went and got my kid, came home, and just in time for the betrayer.
There's a dead Ixablad out here.
Ah, hey. Welcome to the
You got a
stream.
COF on him?
No, he has a circlet for a wizard or a mage.
Junk. Oh, I have a mage.
You got a wizard or mage.
I have a mage.
It's not good. I mean, it has 15 resist to fire, but it only has 4 charges of supernova. Which, I say that, and that's 800 mana per cast.
What? Kill your doggy pet, or are you just gonna leave him here to go?
Oh, sure.
No more betrayers on track, I assume.
No.
They will be the moment we leave, though.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Just
for
a
the pipe.
sec.
Hey, Flats, do you know Tony Sharp? Or have you heard of him
He
before?
often comments on my videos and stuff.
Yeah. I was watching a video last night of his Anarchy Online. He mentioned you.
Oh, did he? I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, I heard your video, Cypher, got spotlighted over on Aftermath's homepage.
Yeah.
Would you videotape videotape it? You got with the camcorder and everything, and
VHS.
Yeah, I had it in my hand. I was like zooming in whenever I had to. No, I was playing on flip sides, and I was at the Tunar Kiln, so I took several shots from different directions. I watched them put together the ogre wall, and it's a pretty fun little video.
all right, guys. Well, we're gonna be wrapping up here in the next few minutes. Definitely want to give a big shout out to all the guys that came out today. Even though we weren't able to do the epic kill, we did happen to get a epic piece for one of our guys here. So I doubt it's gonna take him more than a couple of days before we see him running around with a full blown epic on his monk down. So big.
Yeah, he'll get that within, for sure, by the weekend.
Yeah, 48 hours maybe, if that. So big
Man,
congrats to Link. Also to Flats for coming out and joining us, man. Always a pleasure to have you, dude.
Thanks for having me. It was awesome.
And we will definitely try in the future, guys, to put together another one of these. Hopefully we can get enough people then. I'm not quite sure if it was maybe just a bad day or if just too many people had things going on, but we'll get it eventually.
Yep.
As always, guys, I'm AC Gamer. I'm here with Nano03. If you want to tell them a little bit about things they can expect on your channel. I know you've been playing Project Gorgon lately. Nano?
Fell asleep.
Oh, sorry. I was muted. I'm actually... I've been playing a lot of Project Gorgon. I got 2 videos. Big-ass fish right for you guys? Like right
Yeah,
here.
someone's charmed the
Yes.
piranha and has it.
Okay. Yeah, alright. That's awkward. But yeah, Everquest stuff and classic retro NES, Super Nintendo, Sega games, stuff like that. All that junk on my channel.
Don't forget to check out Terrafina, guys. She does some amazing horror games, and we're hopefully going to be doing some more Resident Evil here fairly soon. Of course, we got Cypher Deck just joined in the call. You can always check out his channel. We got a few new games that me and him did together. One of them a lot like Worms, right, Cypher?
Yeah.
And then we tried Black Desert Online, which, you know, it's interesting.
We got lost.
We didn't know what we were doing. We were completely clueless on that game. But a little bit more time, and we may be able to figure it out.
Yep.
But until then, guys, definitely have a great night, and we will catch you tomorrow.
Night, guys.
Night.
Hey guys, and welcome to the disembodied voice of AC Gamer. We are definitely going to be doing a lot more series in the future, but here are a few of them that you guys might find interesting. Of course, you're more than welcome to check them out. I would love to hear your comments. Again, if you do enjoy these videos, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe. It's definitely the indicator that I use to tell if you guys want to see more videos like that, of that particular game style, of that series in the long run. So when you guys leave comments down, it helps me decide whether we should keep doing it, as well as whether you want to see games like that in the future. And here are a few of them right here. I kind of picked out a few of different genres. We will be doing spotlights for other YouTubers in the future. So if you want to get a little shout out, definitely let me know. If you group with me, chances are you will get a shout out in here eventually. But for now, these are just 4 series that I have that I feel like could use a little bit more attention, and that you guys might actually enjoy as well. Thanks again for watching, guys, and we will definitely catch you all next time.